Good evening and welcome to the Petaluma Community Access Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, February 19, 2019. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Yes, Cindy Thomas.
I am present.
Check. Judy Kirchner, present. Domenica Giovannini, not here. Richard Halpert.
Here.
Dana Porcius, not here. Jason Lopez, not here. Tim Williamson.
Here!
All right. You get an H right.
Okay, and with that, we have quorum. Is there anyone here to speak on public comment? Seeing none, we shall move to the Board of Directors' comments and announcements. Is there anything here we have to announce? No?
Director's comments and announcement?
Yeah.
Is that pertaining to?
No, we can't do anything. No. All right. We shall move on to item 4, the agenda approval. Everybody has the agenda. Went out Friday as usual, and it's a little bit packed, but
Is there an extra one there? Do you have an extra one?
I
Agenda?
don't. Oh, well, no, I don't actually.
thank you. Don? Is this the first that you've seen it, Richard?
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing right here, since I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll just put it down.
We can correct that to save Lewis.
And then we're on reports of committees, same questions. 'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay with me.
Okay, if there are any modifications we need to make,
Just the date.
anyone?
Just the date. So it says
Oh.
February 19th instead of February 18th.
Yeah. Dawn, did you have anything?
No.
Okay, and so, on 11D, discussion and possible action on funding for PCA website rebuild, that's me. There was a question
Okay,
mark
yes.
as to whether it was, so we'll make that me.
And you can actually go higher.
Was there anything else?
Yeah, if you go to under 9, executive committee, committees, I wasn't sure how that was.
Yeah, just cross that out because there was no meeting, so.
Okay, and then the finance committee, I wasn't sure how that worked out, but you said it was
I
done.
don't believe they met. Do you know, Dawn, the finance committee didn't meet within the last month, did they?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
Is it just the two of them? Has anybody seen Jason in the last one?
I don't know. Okay, so,
And then we'll portend to the nominating committee then as well.
okay, policies and procedures did meet, so I'll report out on that. And did the outreach committee meet?
I'm not part of that, but
I don't
the
think-
events met, so I
No.
don't think that they met.
Yes. Okay, I think we're good. So with those couple of modifications, can we get a motion to approve?
So moved to approve. Okay.
Who's the second?
Burn.
Go for it.
Go for it in a second.
Anyone
Yes, that's
opposed or abstaining?
No.
Agenda approved. Minutes of the January 15, oh, I see a mistake, 2019 Board of Directors meeting. See that?
Yeah,
Item
2019,
five?
yeah. And under 6 too. 5 and 6.
Okay.
Boy, I was.
Just a New Year's blunder.
I think I'm still living last year.
Yeah. Okay, so item 5, approval of the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
Good.
Oh, really?
Were there any corrections that we need to make?
You can accept for the 15s,
Pardon me?
except for all the 15s. Except for all the 15s.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
15.
There were 2015 instead of 2019 in a couple of places.
2018.
did you mean 2018 or 2015?
Well, we had the wrong date in there.
Okay.
Really? 2018, yeah. It said 2018, same thing, 5, so I got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
I got
too
you.
many zeros, and you made us like centuries ahead of time.
20,
Look at the top.
That's Stardate.
I've been watching a lot of sci-fi, sorry. Okay, this will get cleared up,
That's
it's funny, y'all.
Yeah, it's fine.
I like the future.
We
I will move approval subject to all of the date fixing.
Dates are fixed.
gotta keep the humor alive here.
Absolutely.
I'll
What's the
still do
point?
it.
Just double check, okay.
Yeah, I don't see any other
There's other
date.
dates. I didn't put the year on some of these other
Wonders.
things.
Okay,
Didn't need it.
we're good. I think we're good. So we're gonna need a motion to approve minutes.
I did,
Oh, you did really?
subject to all the date fixes, I said.
Who
Are we
seconded
having
it?
trouble keeping up, or is there an
I'll
echo?
second.
You know what, I hate this room, and I wish we wouldn't have it, because the acoustics in here are horrible. I can't hear that well to begin with, so.
I second.
You second the acousticating, or the?
That too, yes.
Minutes.
I second the minutes. Sorry.
Okay, anyone
Battery goes way fast.
opposed or abstaining from the approval of the minutes? Okay.
I'll
Items, pardon me?
I'll approve.
All approved. Item 6, treasurer's report, and I think Dawn is going to cover for Domenica.
I'm gonna cover for Dominica, but however, I was speaking with John, and we can't really do a budget review until the projected third quarter payroll budget has been decided, and if employees are gonna gain more hours, and I think there was discussion too about health insurance that someone was supposed to look into. So I can't really
I
give,
am.
oh, okay. I can't really give a report until we have that projected, correct?
Great.
Okay.
Until third quarter.
Projections are in, have been decided. That's my report.
That's your report?
That's what I call concise.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do anything until we know what the budget's gonna be for the third quarter, so we can't crunch the numbers.
Yeah, and without Domenica here, it's kind of hard to go into, to put Dawn on the spot to try and explain why we're going in the red. But we are going in the red, I do know that, but that's to be expected because we are still trying to bring our radio production studios up to the level of being totally operational, so.
I think we also haven't gotten one of our pay fee checks also, I think we're still waiting on that, so that'll help as well.
Okay, so,
Excuse me, so have you met the people in finance, you know, who talked to you about that?
On the finance committee?
Yeah, no, in finance at City Hall, about your peg fee checks.
I think it's a common thing, John said they just arrive.
yeah, but have you met the people? Is
No, I haven't,
I'm be willing to introduce you.
that'd be great,
That's where I was going.
I like it.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other comments on treasurer's report?
That was kind of incidental anyway.
Okay, then I think you can go ahead, thank you for the treasurer's report, and go ahead with your executive director report, please.
So before I came on, we had applied for a logging this grant, which we received, so we got $500 for that, which is exciting. I think most of you guys are aware, there's a Dine and Donate Wednesday, March 6th at Mary's Pizza, the one by the Art Center over there. There's flyers on our social media, all the programmers are reading out announcements, and we have flyers in the office as well. You need to show the flyer in order for us to get 15% back on the food or drink orders. It can be dine-in, take-out, or delivery. So, I mean, we're not gonna make $1 million off it, I think it's gonna be pretty fun, all the programmers are excited, and I think the community's gonna come out. Dominic Delbeni gave us the funding, he gave us the money that was earned for the beer and drinks at his crossword show, which totaled $400, which is nice, and he's got 2 more events coming up where he's gonna also give us the money for the drinks, which is very, very kind.
Does that include the one at the hotel?
Yes, the
Comedy
hotel.
show?
There's a comedy show at the hotel, and there's another crossword show at the Keller Street Co-work.
Knew
We're
about that
benefactors
one.
of. Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Could that wind up being a recurring thing?
Yeah, it is. He's got kind of a blanket deal for us to take the bar money. Yeah, so, yeah, go drink there, get us more money. John, Jeff, and I have been going through the storage facility, which is pretty amazing. It's like a state-of-the-art TV station from 1987. And we're gonna be we're doing like a mixture of things that we know are garbage, things that we can bring back to the studio, and then we're also putting things together for a kind of garage sale. One idea that we're kicking around is a garage sale / record swap. So the programmers can bring in vinyl records, and we can also sell, it'd be like a big garage sale, but there's a lot of really crazy stuff down there that's in excellent condition, so we're gonna try to sell it off and earn some money from it.
Is that where we put the stuff when we strip the trailer?
Yeah,
Strip the trailer and let's the Casa Grande campus.
yeah, remember that Tom Petty video where they find all the electronic equipment and video games? It's like that. I walked in there, it's like, there's like a brand new VHS camera, like I think.
Vacuum tubes and everything.
Yeah.
Tell
And there's also things that you mentioned, the e-cycling, so we're gonna take some stuff over there too, and then I'm gonna get my dad's truck and start dumping trash. We have a new access assistant, Dominic Bowker. He's been great. He's Bill Bowker's grandson.
I was just gonna say, is that a
DJ.
Bowker?
Yeah, the #1 DJ in Sonoma County. I was talking to Bill, and he sent Dominic. Dominic's got a real eye for video, and him and Naomi have been really partnering up and doing some really cool stuff. They're making some interstitials for the TV station and things like that, so he's a nice asset. And then we also have a really wonderful intern named Sunday, and she's been great. She's really bright personality, really brightens up the office, she's really funny.
Before you go any further, what's an interstitial?
Like in between like programming, like it'll be like a short video, like things we love about Petaluma. Naomi's
Oh,
like
okay.
an unofficial survey. So she went to Talto today, and they filmed some stuff. They filmed some things at Copperfield's books, the town clock downtown. So it's gonna be a nice community feel, like things that people love about Petaluma.
It's good that the video end of this production is sort of.
Yeah, Naomi's really passionate about that
Taking
stuff, and
some-
I'm not afraid to do some more TV stuff, Yeah.
Right.
I've been meeting with staff separately, which has been great. Like I gave Jeff a ride home a few weeks ago to get to know him better, and Patty and I spent the day in Windsor. I'm gonna meet with Nellie, and I'm gonna do a review. I'm not sure if I'll have the reviews done by our next board meeting. I'm still trying to figure things out. We have I would remind you to start the process for the board election, as we now have 2 open seats, or we have 1 open seat, but, and then later I can fill you in on the Windsor, Winter Park, and Sebastopol city meetings. That's a different line item.
Okay,
That's all I got.
sounds good. And just on the board recruitment, we do have one person that has submitted, will be submitting to me tonight or tomorrow, paperwork or board application. But we still have that second seat, and I think it's worth casting the net out on Nextdoor. I think Dennis's suggestion to put it up on Nextdoor not only gives us the opportunity to advertise that we have the radio station, but to see if anybody with board experience wants to, what do you,
I'm not sure we can do that.
why?
Nextdoor is funny about advertising and organizational memberships.
Well, I don't have to mention, well, I don't know, it's a nonprofit.
I'm just gonna look.
Also, I mentioned the Downtown Association is willing to put out a little blast on their email. Do you want me to write something up that just says,
Right, you and I talked
Yeah.
about that, but I think
you want to start with this? And
from the executive committee would be better.
that's right, okay.
Yeah.
I think Dana posts his show on Nextdoor.
It's to be posted as a homeowner, it's different.
Well, at the very least, it can be a call for anyone with board experience that's looking to be on a nonprofit board without mentioning specifics. Yes, no?
Well, I don't think PCA can have an account on it.
Pardon me?
I don't think PCA can have an account on it.
Well, it would come from me.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
And the worst they can do is take your house away.
In some ways, that could be a blessing.
And Nextdoor, they're real addictive.
They have to deal with the workers that are gonna lay the carpet and put the new floors down tomorrow. All right, anything else on Dawn's report? Comments, questions? have no items on the consent calendar. For reports of committees, the executive committee did not meet. We are down one member because we have no vice chair with Dennis leaving, that's vacant. Domenica is out of the country, so that left Judy and I, and so we had a informal meeting where there was no decision-making, just discussing the items for tonight's agenda, so. Finance committee did not meet, nominating committee did not meet. Policies and procedures committee did meet. Sorry we missed you, Tim, because it was a pretty good session. It was all women, so it went really quickly.
Bertucci wasn't there.
Yeah. And you? No, we always could use your
I don't have
expertise.
anything to go
We always value you.
I would rather have been there than where I
We
was.
always value you, and we're not gonna discuss what's the policies and procedures meeting is at this part of the agenda because it is an actual item on the agenda under
Further down.
11A.
Yeah.
Okay, outreach did not meet, events committee did meet,
Yep.
and that's also an agenda item for Judy under 11G. All right, yes?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I just wanna get my bearings here, there was another
Okay.
thing.
Am I going too fast for you?
No, you're not actually, I just wanted
get
to.
you out of here by 8.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm gonna just hold me up, okay? Had to do with the, board retreat, but let's keep going forward.
Yeah,
Back to
that's
the
an
other
agenda
events.
item, yeah.
Okay, yep. I don't see it here, but did I not put it in here?
What?
Board retreat. Oh, there it is, no, board member, I didn't put it in here. Was that lame? That's lame.
That's not good.
No, but I have information about it, I can put it in with my events committee,
What's an event?
it's an event.
It's eventful.
Guess you could put it under the event committee report, except,
Did I really leave it on the discussion? I thought I had my shit together. There it is.
I'm sorry, I've been out of town the last couple of days, or I could have helped you with this.
I see what I did, I put the, so I
Oh,
put 11C.
okay, it's under 11C, it's under 11C.
Yes. And it should have been, because I actually put 11C.
And weekend, wait, no.
It's not, actually
No.
there. Okay, well,
Okay.
I tell you what, let's just keep moving, and I can add it with the events committee and just at least let people know what's going on.
I'm trying to think of the save here. Folks, apologies because the retreat agenda did not get on this agenda
Oh,
here.
there we go, 10, it's in 10B, that's why.
Okay, all right. You're right.
I knew I put it in there somewhere, I just expected it to be under new business, sorry.
Okay, all right, let's keep moving.
Yep.
Okay, are we ready for old business? Let's go. Item 10A, discussion of possible action on the Sebastopol and Roanoke Park. Ooh, Roanoke Park shouldn't be in there, right?
Yeah.
It's in there, but
Oh, okay, is
It's
there
all there.
something going on in Roanoke Park?
we just run the report, let me do my report.
Okay, Sebastopol, Roanoke Park, and Windsor,
Spelled Windsor wrong.
city, is it just the council meetings or all city
Right.
meetings?
Well, so, good news, bad news. Good news is Runner Park re-upped us, they accepted our bump in pay, I think we went up like $20. They were totally amicable to it and happy, so we're back on with Runner Park.
Okay, with an increase.
With an increase, a slight increase, I think it was, we were doing 50 before, and now it's 70.
Okay.
Sebastopol is gonna get back to us in a year or so, they need to revamp their equipment, and they don't wanna hire somebody until they've done that to see what their needs are. And Windsor passed on having us do it because they want someone that's gonna be on site who can actually fix things when they're going technically wrong and things like that, and that's not something that we provide. So they passed on having us do their meetings. Another interesting thing, Runner Park was asking if they could use some of our, they would pay us to program their TV channels, because they don't have much to program, and the guy that said it doesn't have time to program it. So we're gonna revisit that and allow them to pay us to program their channels, which would actually be incredibly easy.
They only have one channel, don't they?
I don't know, actually, but it's not that hard because they're on the Granicus system, and you can plug things in that just go right in the TV. It's basically a point and click thing on our end, and they'd be willing to pay us to do that. So we're gonna revisit that once things kind of smooth out. So that could be potentially exciting as well.
So program it on Granicus or on a server?
One of the, Jeff showed me, I'm still struggling with the vernacular on what Granicus does and what the server does, but it would just basically be like, he showed me like a website where they have a bunch of movies that are royalty free, and you could just click what you wanted and add it to their, I think it was the server, add it to their server, and they would play on there. So it would be very low amount of work and potentially some money heading our way for it.
I'm guessing Granicus is the program that does all that, whereas the server is where
Where it
sits.
lives, yeah. Right.
Granicus is the system that has an encoder that grabs all the video and pipes it to the cloud. It's kind of separate.
They're kind of, yeah, they work together,
The
right?
PEG channel is actually part of TV.
Sorry?
The PEG channel that you program is part of the TV.
Got it.
That's my report on old business, section A.
All right. Thank you. Item 10B is a discussion of possible action on
Board retreat.
the board retreat.
That should be given by you or me. as far as all that goes.
Okay, so as you know, we have our retreat on
The 3rd, March 3rd, Sunday.
March 3rd.
It's coming up.
Are you gonna be there, Tim?
Plan on that.
He's gonna ride his bike.
Yeah. Too early in the morning to drink beer, but I can ride my bike.
What? What's for breakfast, dude?
Since college.
Have a flashback.
I find it kind of difficult to develop an agenda here tonight with Jason missing and Domenica missing, and Richard is not gonna be there now. So do we want to punt this to the executive committee and let us, I mean, unless, is there something
The date's kind of.
burning that you wanna hear? Tim, is there something that you,
Burning that I want to hear?
that you wanna hear as far as an agenda item for the retreat? No?
Why did you think there was something I wanted to hear?
I just wanna make sure that
I
everybody
just heard you say
is,
you wanted to punt it back, and I was thinking we're kind of, the date's kind of breathing down our neck, maybe that's a good idea.
Why don't we refer to the previous agendas as a structure for this one? Pretty much duplicating it.
and you saw the agenda last year as being a workable agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, because I recall some of it you did not exactly.
I was not interested in some of it, yes.
Yeah.
But as a general structure for the retreat, I thought it was fine.
Okay. All right, we'll just look at that. Perhaps you and
Make
Domenica
life
and I
easy.
can get together with Dawn, and what we did, I know I didn't get a chance to answer your email. I saw
Oh,
it very
okay,
late
yeah.
tonight that what we've done in the past is we have invited Rob and Nellie to come to a part of it, probably the strategic planning. It makes the most sense.
Okay.
And if you feel like Jeff and Patty could benefit from that as well, then we can do that.
It'd be a nice gesture, I think.
Yeah, and that's,
Set a fun place, lots of
Okay.
foods, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
and,
invite them all.
and, you know, and we have a reservation for 10, but we'll be in the
We're
boardroom.
in the boardroom, they thought it would be a lot more comfortable than being in the
Okay.
lounge.
Okay,
upstairs. So just about that, we have it for the day, it doesn't cost us anything because we're nonprofit. They said if we're 10 people or less, we could order from their food, from their menu. I did talk to Helen over at Falafel House. We could order food from there if we chose to. The menu's on Yelp. Or I know in the past we brought stuff in, which I guess is fine. I'm just not a huge fan of like veggie platter from wherever, Costco or Trader Joe's. So, you know, just something, you know, if we're gonna be there for the day, it'd be nice to have something that's a little bit, doesn't have to be extravagant, but
But it should be good and
it
healthy.
should be good, healthy, and that people feel like they wanna eat.
Maybe some gluten-free items.
If there's gluten-free people, I'm not one of them, but
I know.
I can always check. Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there can certainly be gluten-free product. I guess it just depends how we want to go about the food aspect of it.
Okay,
So that's
so
something to
we
think about. We'll
will
talk
keep
about
you informed as to what we're gonna do. If it turns out, like we've done in the past, where we're gonna have to get an order from you, we'll forward a menu and you can pick which one.
Yeah, and I'll need a head count at some point, depending on if we order from them or not. If Nellie, Jeff, Patty, and Rob are there, that only marginally changes the numbers,
Yeah.
so I don't think one or two people.
We're down Richard,
We're down Richard and Dana, which have been.
or down Dana, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 for sure.
And then
And
if
if
all
we-
4
if
staff.
there's 4 staff, that would be 10.
They're back at 10 again.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm open. I'm less inclined to believe that they would have gluten-free stuff that, well, they just, I don't know.
You know, I can always take a sandwich and pull the stuff off.
Chicken skewers or,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm
I think they have
I'm pretty
nachos.
clever. I'm pretty clever. at-
Nachos are gluten-free, aren't
Yeah,
they? And delicious.
yeah.
Okay, that would be the simplest, just order.
Okay,
Just
so
your
you
flowers
guys
up
just
here.
trust that the executive committee will work this out for us, okay? Let's move to 10C, discussion of possible action on outreach reorganization. Okay, I know we've had this conversation about outreach, and at one point we decided that we were gonna split and have an outreach committee and an events, last meeting, I think we called it outreach and fund development, and then events committee.
Yes.
And Judy and I have brainstormed, and I think, did it hurt? It hurt bad. And I've talked with John and Dawn as well, and that I think what we should do is get rid of events committee and just stick with our outreach committee as we had it before. And as far as events go, I think that we should do like we do for the pop-ups and have an application. If you wanna have an event, you outline what your event is going to be in the application, name yourself as the leader or steering person, or I don't care what name you call it, but you're responsible for following the outline of what it is that you're gonna say the event is, and then it goes to the outreach committee and gets approved just like a pop-up would be.
Right, back to the original.
Back to the original, but instead of everybody just going out there and doing all these events, that
Right.
to keep Dawn apprised of what's going on and the rest of
We have a
us, we
form
have
that
a
we're gonna
form,
use.
just like for pop-up, and that you need to submit it at least 30 days in advance, and,
I'm all for simplifying this.
Yeah,
Organization.
absolutely.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
getting
We
really
have too
complicated.
many committees as it is, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
we're getting back to basics, so. Does that sound,
Good decision.
does that, okay?
Yes, I believe it does.
What do you think?
So, my only thought, and this actually, for me, unless you were about to say something, jump in. So the only thing I'm thinking of is, at one point, like you said, we had the outreach events and fundraising. We had put, in the notes that I have, we had sort of put the fundraising back to your, not to you specifically, but to
Yeah.
your area. And I think it's just as long as it's clear that that is the one separation. I mean, a lot of these events fall under the heading of
Right.
fundraising, but fundraising would be, in my mind, different than outreach/events, which we
Right.
can drop the events, I guess,
And-
at this
and-
point.
So therefore, Dawn would automatically on the outreach committee
Yes,
because he's the dotted line to,
exactly, so,
Perfect.
yeah, so that was my only thing, and that fundraising should kind of extend to, you know, how are we bringing in money aside from events?
Yeah,
But that's,
underwriting.
you've got that already,
right,
so.
like Don's
Absolutely.
already working on that
He's
with
already
the,
got that, yeah.
Diane
Alright.
Donate is the.
I'm done. Okay, sweet, simplified, love it.
Hey,
Streamline.
Yes,
so,
always.
I don't know, do we need to vote on that? I don't think so.
You know, I think we had to vote to split them, so maybe to be official.
All right, well, I move that we bring the events committee back into outreach and have it one committee
One committee.
called the outreach committee. Outreach and fund development. I like to keep fund development in there. So my motion
I'll
is,
second.
okay.
I'm
Anyone
down
opposed
for
to that?
CT first,
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Done with old business. Yay. New business, 11A, discussion and possible action on a KPCA key card user policy, user agreement and assessment. Okay, policies and procedures, as I said earlier, did meet, and we came up with, well, actually, Patty and Rob
And Nellie.
drafted, and you?
And Nellie.
Oh, and Nellie drafted a policy. I'm just gonna abbreviate the name and just call it policy for the purposes of keeping it simple here. So this policy came to our policies and procedures committee, and we looked at it and we tweaked it a little bit, and between all of us, I think we came up with a pretty good policy. Did you get a chance to read it?
Absolutely.
What'd you think?
I thought it was great and very thorough.
What do you think, Tim?
I looked at it a few days ago, and on my walking around today, I thought I would add, but I see one of them's there already. We add, say, allude something about protection of assets and also
Here's the second one.
protection of personnel, staff,
Protection of personnel.
people, humans, mostly humans. There are other kinds, but the rest of them can fend for themselves.
Get on this equipment.
Equipment, person, and people, yeah. And that would be only part of the purpose, that was the only thing I could think of.
Okay,
Knowing that it's documented gives us an enormous head start, that's huge. And if we find something down the road that's missing or redundant, just to fix it. But this is a 99% the way to wherever it needs to be.
Yeah, there's just some wording.
And I think spending more time on it is probably not gonna get us anywhere.
That's-
Dawn, I did see an email, where was it? Nellie said something about following the rules of the handbook should be included in there. Did you see something like that?
Oh, yeah, well,
Isn't there something in it?
Yeah.
Is it in here already?
I think it's already in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. Key card users must adhere to all rules and conduct. Conduct is outlined in the PCA member handbook. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's two number fours, but the second number four, sorry, this is just a silly thing that I noticed, I was reading, brought before the radio manager. I'm guessing, is that Rob in this case, or the manager doesn't,
Yeah.
am I just being a dork? Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So then there is the application and requirements. Is everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
And the opening and closing procedures for key card users.
Somebody tested that, I was guessing. You wrote it down and then you gave the procedure to somebody who says, here, can you get in and out and do what you need to do, maybe.
I don't know.
couple, 3 people different tried it out.
It's happened, yeah.
Looking at, under closing procedures for key card users, the 6th item down, front door panic bar locked. And Rob's note says this may be unnecessary, door should always be locked. I agree, but we discussed this in the Policies
Locked-
and Procedures
locked
Committee,
to
and that
the outside, right?
we don't want, what we're trying to avoid is the door being propped open,
Right,
sticking a book in there or something to keep it open, or using the little key, the little hex key that will unlock
oh,
the
the
bar.
Allen wrench kind of thing, yeah.
Dog it open, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that the programmers should have access to that hex key.
Agree.
But we might wanna say, well, I think front door panic bar locked needs to stay in there, but maybe it is,
Special consideration.
is there a name for that little key? I call it a hex key, cause that's
I
what
just
it looks
thought it was
like
an
to
Allen, I
me.
thought it was an Allen wrench, I didn't know.
Yeah, it looks like an Allen
Yeah,
wrench
yeah.
to me.
Yeah,
So when you unlock it with that key, they call it dogging it. Dogging it down or something.
you push it and then you put it in there and you click it.
You're basically tripping it, yes.
And you can open it from the outside. Okay,
You-
here's the issue.
It completely disables any lock.
Yes, here's the issue for me. The night that they did the test, the so-called test, when, for the Christmas Carol night, that was the failure in the test, was that was not relocked. And there was in and out going on
Somebody didn't.
during the show,
Uh-huh.
yes. There was in and out going on. So I think it needs to be said that that panic bar needs to remain locked. And it should say, front door, panic door,
So if we're gonna,
bar to
we're gonna-
remain locked, because it is always locked,
if we're
right?
gonna pick on it, you don't wanna say panic bar remain locked, because panic bar.
Well, it's called the egress door,
It's
so,
a fire code thing, you don't wanna say the panic bar is locked.
right, it's an egress door, we
The
should
door,
call it.
the door shall remain
So-
locked
Egress door to remain locked
at all times. But don't put the word panic bar in there.
It'll cause a panic.
Oh, yeah.
at all times.
With the fire code.
And we need to put something in there about no blocking, no
Propping. it
propping
up.
the door open.
Yeah, just say including
And,
propping or disabling of the lock.
and will not be propped open, something like that. Can we agree to that, and we can wordsmith it with
Yes.
Rob, okay?
No, probably not then.
Okay.
No props,
I just wanna get this approved
No
tonight
props.
because
bad biscuit. Yeah.
we'll all be heroes and so will Dawn if we get this done
I'd
tonight.
love to get that done.
Yes.
So did we deviate from our traditional practice of the board sets policies and staff develops procedures to implement them? Because this includes procedures in the policy.
Right, right.
We're gonna peel them
We're,
off.
we're
and
just
them
trying to
out.
get it all done because the bottom line is we want
Yeah.
access by the end of this month.
Okay, so
That's all.
just peel off the
That's all.
procedure parts and give them to Donna.
We're just all trying to help and get it done, so,
We can move on with our lives.
and yeah. And so then there was also a radio studio operation checklist that Rob created. And, you know, I think it looks pretty good. I'm sure we're going to tweak things as we go along, but can we agree that everything here looks good and we accept the recommendation of the Policies and Procedures Committee and approve it?
Yep, sure.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Yay, we did it. All right. All right, 11B, discussion and possible action on the appointment of a butter and eggs committee.
So we, last time, decided we were going to
Well,
have a steering committee is what the.
early
idea was.
bird is due, I believe, March 3rd or something first week of March. We still have plenty of time to get it in, but I would like to get a committee together so that we can be moving forward and coming up with our plan and who wants to be on the committee.
I don't think that should just be us here, I think that should be a statewide thing, yeah? Is that normal?
It's, if other programmers wanna join in with us to get the work done, I don't wanna see us doing all the work if we don't have
That's,
to.
I think what I'm meaning.
I have a vision for the float, so I would like to be
Of course.
on the committee.
Okay, so,
You're gonna be on that too, right? Richard?
Richard, you in this year?
Mhm.
Of course you are. Okay.
I'm hard pressed to commit at the moment, so I'm not going to, but that could change.
Okay, so for, as far as people present in this room, myself, Richard, and Dawn, and we will certainly cast the net out there, see if any programmers want to volunteer some time, which, by the way, are we getting programmers to volunteer time, like, do you know?
That's a Rob question. I think some are and some aren't, and I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of, I think that's just my understanding of it.
okay.
That
Talk
counts?
about that tomorrow in our
Okay, yeah, good idea.
meeting.
Why don't we put it out to membership also?
Pardon me?
Why don't we put it out to membership?
Yeah.
If they want to participate.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. I was also kind of thinking that maybe we could make some kind of a contest out of programmers that are gonna be on that float. We have so many programmers now, not everybody could be on that float, so maybe we have
I think we should,
some kind of a
I'd like a
contest.
diverse group of, you know, ethnicities and genders.
Absolutely.
Maybe not open it up to everybody. It's gonna be
We
like
can do
I
it
don't
by
think
so.
seniority, whoever has seniority sits on the float.
Come on,
Maybe
Judy.
if they're
Yeah,
not-
I float
Or
my
who's got the most volunteer hours in, or something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good idea.
that's a great way to do it.
Is there, I was gonna say, it's something like, is there a scorecard that shows how many positive comments a given show has had? And say the people with the best comments or score best, the programmers with the best scorecard get on the float?
We need to be careful, I don't wanna hurt any
That-
programmers'
Let's
feelings.
punt it to the committee.
That would kick you
Figure it out.
off.
Totally.
Okay, so we're good on 11B, so item 11C, the May 20th Lagunitas fundraising event for KPCA.
Oh, that is me.
Judith?
Okay, and as I go completely blank. Okay, we have a band, The Grain. They'll do it for a little bit less than we initially hoped or wanted, or at least from our side. DJ Saeed is gonna open it with, he's gonna spin for the first hour or so. And we sort of threw around the idea of various people, but in talking to DJ Saeed, he thought, you know, with 1 hour, that's not a lot of time. The equipment is borrowed at this point, and I think that letting him run with it would be fine. I think that's kind of where we're at.
What equipment?
The
PA?
no, the Lagunitas will supply the PA, but, you know, turntables for spinning.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's gonna DJ, spin some stuff. And the idea did get floated around to maybe see if we could have a few DJs come in or a few of the programmers, but I think if we're gonna pay Saeed $100 to bring in equipment and do it, we should let him do it.
Nice.
So the food is coming at this point, let me backtrack. Poster. Poster can be ready, a mock-up this weekend if we have all our affairs in order in terms of what we need to get to Bree, which is the woman that Dominic knows quite well, and she does a lot of art stuff. As soon as I find, here we go. So what I have is, at the moment, the first question that came up is ticketing platform. Since there was none ever used for TEP or anything like that, it kind of came out with the idea, we came up with the idea that Eventbrite might be the easiest way to utilize. We could link it to the poster, and we could, within that, this is kind of a twofold thing. Where do I go first? once we settle on the price, that can go in there, and then, people can actually, as they're ordering food, they can order what they might want, and then it will magically arrive. So, the, caterer, and it will be catering, not a truck, is Senor Sisig out of San Francisco. It's a Filipino street food, which is kind of a fusion of
It is a
Mexican.
truck or it's
It's
not?
not, no.
It's not?
So it is not. So it is a fusion of Mexican and Asian food in a very general sense. It's Filipino food. So, I mean, I went to the website just to make sure, and that's what it says, not Asian, not Mexican, it's Filipino, and it looks like, Mexican and
It's
Asian.
yummy.
And it looks amazing. And apparently it's one of the hottest trucks going on in San Francisco now, so,
Nice.
for sure.
So I don't understand, we're not having the truck, but we're having
They-
that same group of people cater. So we'll have a hot table with
They will supply,
somebody dishing the stuff out.
that's what I'm getting to. So,
Oh, okay.
they will supply the hot, I forget what the hot plates are called, the hot trays that the food goes in. Some of this will be because it's pre-ordered theoretically, some of it'll be, well, somebody will order a burrito, so there's your burrito in the hot tray, you go pick it up, there'll be tickets. So, some of this is still being finessed, so I'm sorry, and I'm not fully clear on some of it, but when they put in the order through Eventbrite, they come up, they say, I guess we'll have their information, we'll give them a ticket, you can go get your food, you bring them, you go up to the line, to the table, we'll have to have tables, we will have to have a couple people there. Dominic and I decided we'll start it out the first hour, first half hour, and then if we can have maybe 2 more people come in and replace us or whatever.
We should get a
Yeah.
sign-up genius and then just have people.
Yeah, exactly. And then, it shouldn't take much. He's going to find out, what he's not sure of yet is whether we actually need to supply the plates, the napkins, and the plasticware or whatever silverware. So that may be the only hitch. We may need to supply that, but, a
Well,
burrito,
that would be okay, because I would like to see it compostable.
that's what I prefer too. I don't want plastic. I'm so anti-plastic, it's not even.
And I'm sure Fishman would help us out with that.
Okay, so
Fishman Supply,
Fishman Supply.
yeah, they've been generous with us before, so,
FISHMAN?
yeah.
So the other side of that, compostables. So he'll know within the next day or two. They will take care of everything else pretty much. Let's see, so it comes out to roughly $7 to $8 per person food
Wow.
wise. So that's
Great deal, yeah.
So
We were
that-
looking at 20 before.
yeah, we were looking at 13 to 20,
Yeah.
I think. So what we sort of figured out was that we could really, pre-sale, we could do like $10 kids and $20 adults, and day of jump it up to 15 and 25. We need to make sure we get that hashed out ASAP so we can give that back to Bree so she knows what to put on the poster.
Yeah,
I think that's a little pricey.
no,
I know.
the fundraisers that I use are all generally $20-25.
We were talking about the Mardi Gras fundraiser, and that's 25, and that's
That's
like
27.
but that's a Mardi Gras.
That's 27.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Schollenberger to,
Yeah.
All right.
always,
So the difference with the Mardi Gras, having been on a number of those, is they have it fully catered.
Right,
We
right.
serve,
Well,
we do
a
that.
big day,
It is, I mean, it becomes part of the festival.
And it's the Pedal Music Festival, right?
And it's many years in existence as opposed to us. We're trying to do our first one.
Yeah.
I think we should keep it kind of reasonable. And that said,
Well-
if you actually add it up, even if we get, if we don't get that many pre-sales, that means hopefully people just show up, and if you kind of do the math, it actually works
Well,
out pretty well.
the other thing is the crane has a following, so.
They do,
Okay.
yeah.
I would just rather be
Big
cheap and
problem.
packed out than expensive and not as crowded.
I
agree
don't,
with you on that.
I don't disagree, to be honest with you. And maybe there's some wiggle room, but I don't know. And I'm open to hearing it, but we need to figure it out really quick.
Yeah.
So, part of me says, really kids, I guess depending on age, my kid, I don't know. I won't go there.
And then they charge for beer too, and then we get the beer money and
We
the
get all
money.
the beer proceeds, yeah. We get all the beer proceeds.
I mean, if it was cheaper to get in, maybe they drink more beer because they didn't spend as much to get in, so maybe we can double dip them that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
Okay. And since it's our first one too, I'd rather just be like really big and have it be packed. It's a good opportunity for us to really put a stamp on things.
Could you make a suggestion as to what the pricing should be?
I would do, gosh, maybe 15 and then 20 at the door.
For, okay.
Kids would be 5 or 10, kids would be 10, I guess. The kids aren't,
I would keep it at 5 for a kid.
maybe even, yeah, I mean,
Because
yeah.
they won't be drinking.
So just-
So actually, I don't agree because they won't be drinking.
So just.
I don't want any kids there at all.
So,
They're not gonna bring us
So
any.
we're not offering lunch included in the door fee, right?
it is actually, so that's.
Oh, that's-
included in that.
So that's where we gotta watch it.
That's what we're trying to,
Okay.
I kinda heard it going
I'm
both
sorry,
ways here.
If it does include food, then maybe 20 is fair, especially if
yeah,
it's
because
8.
people, they can order
Okay.
there, yeah. And that's
As long as
actually,
we play that up, includes food,
absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
So
my bad.
let's stick with those, I'll let
Okay.
Dominic know, and then they will bring enough to feed close to 200 people, I think, if not a little more, in case nobody's pre-sailing, and then suddenly we have a huge walk-up.
Yeah.
Which is, I'd like to have pre-sale so we have a head count, but, a rough idea, but
Well,
that's
and
life.
But that's
I
what
think,
use event, right?
the fact that the grain is playing,
I agree.
and
Those are all those.
they're gonna advertise it too.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel good about that. And they're kind of, their crowd is sort of last minute, they're gonna plan stuff, and as opposed to, oh, I'm gonna mark my calendar. So that's that. So what I did was sort of, and I'll keep this real quick, that I threw Dominic the information, the idea that the free range radio idea in order to create a poster. Dominic gave me a couple of ideas about what she's looking at. A farmhouse with animals kind of representing music styles. I'm not sure how that's gonna go off. But then a little grain silo in the background with it very clearly saying the grain and DJ Saeed. Ticket prices, if you wanna order food, how to go about doing it, where to go, how to do that. So really the next step is getting in touch with Eventbrite and setting that up.
Who's mocking up the poster?
A friend of Dominic's named Bree, she has done a number of things.
She does great, it's really cool stuff.
She does really interesting stuff, she's out of the East Bay. So
Dominic is a great resource.
Oh, man,
Dominic's
he's a
really-
great asset too, yeah.
He's been
Really
awesome.
good.
So
The show is awesome too.
there you have it, I guess I've heard a great show, I love it. So that's that.
Okay, good job. And then
That show.
No, it's
You-
radio show. Origin stories?
the seed money is all,
The seed money, we're taking care of, right? We're gonna pay, it's basically paying the
It's the
band.
tech money, right, that's coming up?
It's the TEP
Yeah.
money, so we have money to pay the band and DJ Saeed, and if we need money to pay the,
Caterers.
for
you're
catering.
set then.
Yeah.
Alrighty
So,
then, thank you.
Great job, Judy.
Yeah.
You really took over on that, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, under new business, 11D, discussion and possible action on funding for the PCA website rebuild. And as you guys know, this has been Domenica's passionate item for over a year. She couldn't be here tonight, but we had, what's his name?
Jeff Irvine?
Jeff
I can't remember the
Irvine.
name of his
You
company.
wanna give a report on that
Yeah, I'll give
meeting?
a report on it. He was referred to us by Dominica, his name's Jeff Irvine, and he came in and talked to me, really bright guy. He's from Petaluma, he lives in Sacramento now, and he, let me see if I can find I forget what it's called.
Innovative.
Yeah, I can say, yeah, Innovision. And he looked at our needs, we met for about an hour, and he was willing to do it for 4,000. So really just taking what we have, condensing a lot of it down, streamlining it. I gave him 3 or 4 websites that, that me and Dominica and Dana had looked at, that we kind of would like to model after. And, 4,000 is expensive, but I'm also kind of tired of I've only been here a month, it's gone down, it keeps falling apart. He's gonna guarantee,
Yeah.
he's gonna be on, you're paying
$300 every time something goes wrong.
Exactly. And he's got his own server, so he said he's on top of that stuff, and I think it's, I just think, just to pay somebody to make it headache-free
And
and
this
look nice, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the way that we have it right now, just to summarize, is that we have 2 websites. We have the PCA website, and we have the KPCA website. KPCA website has been hacked again. It's been hacked by
So
Koreans.
Chinese
It's
writing
like
or
Well,
Korean.
if you go to kpca.com, it is a Korean website.
Yeah.
So that's just weird.
If you Google KPCA,
It goes to that.
no, but the Google results for our website has Chinese characters.
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So something's going on.
Korean.
Yeah, DreamHost is not really, we're not getting our bang for our buck at all, and this guy Jeff will take care of all that stuff.
So then what will happen is it's all gonna come together in one site, as it should be, because PCA is the parent company, and we wanna keep bringing people into the PCA website. People could still go to kpca.fm, we'll keep that name, and it'll be redirected to the PCA website, where the homepage will have a click here to stream live, so they're not gonna miss anything that they were able to get from the KPCA website, so.
And he's also gonna, so it's $4,000, but it's $2,000 up front, and we can make payments on the other $2,000, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's a nice,
Yeah. And Dawn and John and I discussed it, and we feel that this is a reasonable amount of money for what it is that we want. We want a high-end website, professionally done. So I am gonna make the motion to allocate the up to $4,000, or no, up to $5,000, that's right, we'd said 5,000. I would like to make the motion to
I have one question.
allocate, let me finish my motion, the $5,000 to authorize Dawn to move forward with the rebuild. Questions?
Don't we have a sum of money that we allocated for batteries and some equipment? What's the status of that? Do we have any of that left over, and can this come from those funds?
No, we bought the batteries,
oh yeah, the
it's-
battery
it's
back.
all on- We spent the money, the money that we allocated, that got spent, so that's why we're coming back here and for something, this amount of money, the board has to approve it, so
Okay.
that's my motion. So is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
It's gonna be a fast turnaround too, so they can do it in like 3 weeks. By the time we have our fundraiser, we're
Yeah.
gonna be
Sweet.
looking sharp, yeah.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay, it's unanimous, and we are moving on to 11E, a discussion of possible action and participation in the 2019 NFB Community Conference. And so, I don't know how many of you got the email communication on the conference, and I forgot to bring the flyer on it. I might have it from the last other meeting. Dawn, do you have information on it?
Yeah, it's insane, I'm gonna look at the date right now.
The information was passed out at a previous meeting.
No, can't even email, I believe.
Ah. Sorry. I usually have. I don't have it with me.
Are you looking for the dates?
Yeah. Looking for the date and the expense for the registration.
Okay, here we go.
You know what? I can just look it up.
I was gonna say.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
So it's June 18th through 20th, which is midweek. It's in San Diego. I don't need to, if you send me, I don't need to stay at the Sheraton house. I can stay somewhere cheaper. It's $375 for early bird member registration.
Per person.
I'm sorry, how much?
$375 if you
Early
register
bird.
before March 15th.
$375 for the registration, and then there were quoted expenses for
Transportation.
hotel.
They have a hotel that's sponsored. The event is at the Sheraton, and it's $209 a night. But I'm happy to stay
$209.
somewhere else if you, I mean, I'm not picky.
So we're
And then
talking
playing
3 nights
too.
or 4 nights?
2 maybe, oh wait, 18?
D1920, that's 3 nights. Okay, so $375 for registration, $209 per
It's 2 nights.
night for the hotel.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's 2 nights though.
It's 18th, 19th, right? Like go home like the 9th
And
or 20th or
come
something?
back.
then there would
2
be
nights.
airfare.
So $750, something like that. Something like that.
Okay, so Rob went to the conference last year.
I went one day and John went another day.
It was in Santa Rosa too.
But
we
it
should
was,
note.
yeah,
Right.
right up the road.
And there is I've looked at the conference agenda and there is an awful lot on there on fundraising.
Which was last year.
So the dilemma is, do we send Dawn because of the fundraising workshops on the agenda? Do we send Rob because of the networking possibilities, and I don't know how much networking he did last year, or how much more how many more contacts he could come up with if we sent him this time? Or is it important enough that we send both of you?
I really want to, I mean, not to be selfish, because, I mean, I really want to go because I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, and I think it'd be really good for me to get around people who know this stuff, and I'm not afraid to ask questions and meet with people. And then looking at today there was an email that came out, I don't know if you got it, there was like an agenda, everything was laid out, like what everything was, and there's a fair share of things that Rob would get a lot out of, and then a lot of fundraising. Every single session has a fundraising.
That's what I found, and I went to most of those.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, some of it was repetitive,
Yeah,
but personally, since that's kind of where we're in hyper mode, we should be in hyper mode, I really think that that is something that would be super valuable to have you there for. And, you know, that would be my first. I think if we had to weigh it between the two, I would send Don first, and then you can ask the questions you need to ask.
yeah, I just think it'd be good for me to get perspective and, yeah.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of other local stations in the same, there are people from all over at this one, which I found really interesting. That's not to say Rob shouldn't go, but I mean,
I wanna be a jerk and wonder why we're even having this discussion. It should be in the budget and Don should be deciding.
that's a good point.
But it's
Yes.
not in the budget.
Well, there's a line item for stuff like this.
It was like $100, I think, isn't it? It's like, because
Well,
the
okay.
Santa Rosa one
Do
was such
another
a.
budget, better do another budget. No, there's other stuff in there, training and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at last year's budget for the money we spent on it. I think that's
That
what I
could
was
be.
doing.
No,
Because-
that's not true, it was more than $100.
If we sent Rob last year, he was more than $100.
Well, actually, last year it was John,
John and Rob.
Judy, and Rob.
Well, no, it was
Well,
John.
you guys split.
Yeah, John and Rob went and had the tickets, or purchased the tickets, and I went on, Rob went both days. I went one of John's days, and John went the other day, so we kind of did, yeah, we split that.
But there was no hotel and no
There was
travel
no
fees.
nothing,
Yeah.
and my personal feeling is I think at this point in time for the station, sort of what you would get out of it would be way more imperative than, I kind of feel like, I don't know, without sounding rude, I think Rob needs to really focus on the station and get that stuff in order as best we can. I don't know, if it was local again, I'd say absolutely, but if the finances aren't there, then I would say send on, not Rob. If the finances are there to send both, maybe. That's my 2 cents.
We're gonna lose out on the early bird thing if we wait too long for Rob to.
So I think we should go for the early bird for you definitely, and then maybe
Mhm.
figure out if Rob
Okay.
isn't really needed to go.
It's $125 if you're late, so yeah, it's no
I don't
deal.
know, $25 more, so four.
It's $500.
$500.
Yeah, so it's $375 if you do it before March 15th.
And that's coming up.
Yeah.
Close enough, okay. So if the budget is there for, what is it, $375 twice, plus hotels twice, plus,
Like I'm saying, I mean, there's plenty of hotels in that Gaslamp district. Or whatever.
that's, I don't know.
I don't need to stay at the Sheraton, I mean, that's. you know.
That makes it easy though.
I'm a big La Quinta fan. I really
Okay.
like their,
Whatever floats your boat, my friend. So, yeah, I mean, if
We're
we
gonna
don't,
put it on you.
yeah,
yeah, I think I should go, definitely.
yeah,
But I think that we support the idea of you, the fundraising thing,
That's so huge
Is-
right
yeah, that's huge
Yeah, I'm
right
flying
now.
blind.
That's
So,
huge
yeah.
right now, yeah.
How about we say we support Don going, and if he wants to take somebody else, we're not gonna fight him.
Right,
I can talk to Rob about it, yeah.
okay.
I think Judy's right, though. I mean, Rob's got a lot of stuff at the station that needs to be taken care of.
now.
And,
Yeah,
and I mean, maybe we could flip-flop and he can go next year.
This
you know?
is the kind of thing we don't need to tie you up with listening to us.
that's,
Okay.
We have plenty for that.
we're good.
I enjoy your conversations.
Well, let's enjoy something else then.
So I don't need to really do anything with that, do we?
No,
Okay,
not minutes wise.
No, thank you. I'll just put the information in.
okay, we're done with that then. 11F, discussion and possible action on board member resignation. What did I do with that one?
I think we tabled it.
I'm new to this, guys. What do we have to discuss? I mean, is,
Well, so apparently we have to accept his resignation.
We do, that's how it's
Of course,
written
it
out.
I was
doesn't
actually
matter
gonna call
because he's
today.
gonna resign and not show up.
yeah.
Do you?
I was gonna call
I
him
don't have
today
internet
and see if he
access,
rethink
though. I
it,
have,
just.
do have barely have
Yeah, city gas
internet
works
access.
here.
Does,
The letter from
Okay.
Dana,
I can get it.
Works fine for me.
Really?
Yeah, you know why that is, right?
You're special.
one
Or
thing I
it's-
forgot to do.
City gas right there.
Yeah, no, I have it, it's just, it goes back and forth between liking it and junk till late and not late.
City gas is afraid of me, that's why.
Okay, I have it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Good, because I did.
Okay, so, on February 12th, Dana sent an email to Dawn. It says, Dawn, as you know, it has been more than difficult for me having a position on the PCA board, having recently reviewed my notes from the last retreat almost a year ago, and knowing as well the notes and goals set from the year previous to my coming on board, it is more than clear my efforts are clearly in vain. I have more important things I can do in my personal life and in the community. Please accept my resignation today. I will not attend the next scheduled meeting. This decision has nothing to do with you personally. I will continue to be involved as a member of the radio station. I will continue to be part of the underwriting team where I believe my best efforts to create a firmer foundation for the station and community will be met. Sincerely, Dana Porteous. So,
I move we accept his resignation.
second,
Second.
Wow, this is-
all those in favor?
Aye. Next
Okay,
item.
and I'm just gonna remind folks, communications from the board go to the secretary and not the executive director.
I think it depends on what organization, and you know, if people send them to him because they don't know any better, he can share them.
I think John kind of took the lead on that stuff previously, so.
Well, there was
yeah.
no secretary, that's.
Or that, yeah.
That's,
Right, exactly, but, yeah. The executive committee
What's
is
next?
the,
What's the next item? That's why I'm here for.
11G, discussion of possible action on purchasing professional equipment for studio, so
Okay.
that was new for me, so.
it was new, it'll be quick and short because I sort of know the short-term answer, especially with some of the other things we're floating financially. We have 2 turntables and 2 CD players that are prosumer at best. The 2 CD players, at least one of them, has broken down numerous times. Throwing bad money, good money after bad, I don't know what the word is, my mom used to say that all the time.
Good
I
money
think-
after bad.
Thank you. I think if we're gonna be a real radio station and we want this stuff to work, we should have equipment that is professional as it can be in our situation. I think the turntables may be the least of the problem at the moment, so I can see doing it bit by bit, but the flip side of that is some of the programmers I've spoken with who have issues are actual, people that do this stuff. I mean, I know DJ Saeed and I had this conversation. It's really frustrating for him, especially with his style of DJing, and for me when I'm playing records, which I do almost every other show, it is frustrating to some degree. We have neither of the needles are the same. That's silly. They're prosumer, I guess, consumer gear, and so I'm suggesting we look towards upgrading that when we can. I'm happy to talk with Brian and anyone else from some of the other stations to see what they have, what those ballpark figures are, and bring them back. But that's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it because it's me. I
Out
don't
of
think we should have
curiosity, are
CDs.
these analog traditional turntables, or they have
Yes.
USB?
No, the CD players do have USB capabilities.
I'm not understanding what the problem is, the turntables. I get that, I mean, the needle I thought was the issue. I mean, a turntable's a turntable, isn't it?
Depending on how you can work it, yeah, basically, but I think, and I don't know the finites between belt-driven, direct drive, and what we actually have.
Mhm.
I think there's some things that, and again, this is somewhat my limitation, but first off, I think at the very least, we should make sure we have matching needles on them.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
just-
But
That's a
there's
silly
easy
little thing.
fixes that aren't
That's a
thousands.
super easy fix, we
Yeah.
should start with
Or at
that.
least spare needles for each one.
And we should have a spare needle for each one that match, and so, but,
Well, if they match, you can steal one from the,
you
you can borrow the other guy's
Yeah, you
spare.
could.
But
Anyway, I
Is
just,
there anybody beating them up or anything? Anybody being hard
I
on them, or they just?
can't tell you that because I'm not only in there during my show and I play 'em. I'm sure there's some people
Well,
who
you
don't
need to
like
spend more
it.
time there.
Just hide in the corner, Judy.
Yeah, they'll never see you.
Video camera.
There's a few people I
We're
don't
getting
wanna be in their show when they're playing. Anyway, I'm just bringing it up. I do, if anything else, I think if we should start with the CD players, because I think they're shit CD players. And I like the idea of having USB, you can pop it in, but I think I'll leave it there. We have crummy CD players. They do break down a bit, and
So what does Rob recommend?
Right.
I don't think Rob knows. I think Rob just.
Well,
put
see,
on
that's what I
what
was just gonna say, is that we're out of order here, and that
We don't
these
have
folks
staff
should be
right now.
going to Rob and not
Okay.
bringing it to the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
feel free
I
to
think
organize it.
he had and got, okay, I'll look into it, or got very, very much no response. I mean,
So-
Okay,
so-
then
Rob-
the next,
so-
then the next step would be if the person's not satisfied with the results from Rob, then
Okay.
it should go to Dawn.
Okay.
I'm willing to make a motion
Yeah.
based on the answer to two questions. One, are both turntables and both CD decks broken, or
No.
can we replace one of each now and then do another replacement later and stagger the expense?
That is certainly a way to do it.
How much roughly do they cost?
I have no idea, I hadn't gotten that far, because
Okay.
I don't know,
$500 probably is
Couldn't even
generous for
begin to-
each?
maybe,
This,
Yeah.
because the consumer stuff for this is 50 to 120.
yeah. I would like to look into that and know exactly what.
How about if we authorize a dollar limit right now and say, replace one of each?
I'd like to know more about what the issue is in person, like go
Yeah.
talk to Rob
And
and
it's
see it.
still dump it on Don.
Well, I know, and I think they both brought up great points. I mean, yes, there should be a protocol. I think sometimes Rob, with all respect given to him for everything he's doing, sometimes he just kind of checks out momentarily. Here's what you say, but then kind of has to do the other 50 things on his plate.
He's got his hands full. So-
Exactly, and so I'm not taking
It's
that
okay
away.
for people to notice things and suggest them to others and then get them to Rob and Don and get us a number.
Dig it.
And a lot of these things can be just bought. Just go do it.
That's fine.
You know,
That's
I don't think there's any argument that we need stuff like that, and I don't think there's any
Right.
argument that you need two of each.
Not necessarily, but I think for some people
Because
who,
sometimes you play two of the same thing.
well, there are
you
some
need to
people who
start-
play only vinyl, and for them, they do need something that's a little bit
Well,
more
then there's probably other guys
solid
that
and
only do
doesn't like
CDs.
crash.
Or
Sorry?
some other people that do CDs.
Right.
Plus, with two of each, you still have redundancy for each.
Oh, I totally agree.
So
I
I
have
don't
no
think there's
problem
any
with that.
argument you need two of each. So how about if we authorize $500 times two and tell Don to have Rob spec them out and buy them?
I don't,
Buy one
I'm
of
gonna
each
say
now.
I don't wanna leave this strictly to Rob, because I think the last time he got something that was a little questionable.
It's on Rob's bus.
Sorry?
It's on Rob's bus. That guy over there. He's the one that just wrote himself something to do.
Okay.
Is,
I mean, I feel like, okay, sorry.
I was gonna say, is Rob running these purchases through you
I
before
know
he's
nothing
making
of
them?
this. It might have been before I got here, though.
I don't know when it
It's
was.
possible nothing has broke or been crappy since you got here, you know?
There
Maybe it's
hasn't,
the first
the
one.
equipment was prior to you showing
Yeah.
up, and
Sure.
was a real question.
I know when Jeff purchases things.
So I think we can agree that this is an operations issue,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
it doesn't belong here. And
Okay.
so we're punting it to you, and now that you know what's going on, you can talk to Rob, and then you
Yeah.
just,
We can take a look at it tomorrow, too.
You-
We're in the studio.
yeah, and
No
that-
problem.
hopefully, all purchases that he's making are being run through you, and you could
To my knowledge, he
Clarify
hasn't
that.
made any purchases.
How could he
He has
not? How could he not run them through Don and put them on his personal credit card or something?
Because he has a credit card, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
Nothing's.
Maybe it's a side.
I don't think he's bought anything in the 2 months.
Last
and
big
a half I've been
purchase
here.
was the battery thing and the,
Jeff bought a
the
computer,
little
we ran
unit
that through
in
John and
the,
I.
B
Yeah, that was
studio,
a-
which was really questionable, I don't think.
That was a big ticket purchase, and that's why we got involved in that, because it
And-
was the big money.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the right piece of gear, which is why, the only reason I suggested, since this, I do a lot of this stuff, I hadn't looked into it yet, I would like to at least have some information on what specific gear is getting purchased to
Agreed.
make sure it makes sense, cause that.
Should have a couple gatekeepers, so it's not just all on Rob or, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that to be rude, it's just that last thing that was purchased, is like, what the hell is this for?
Your good money after bad.
It's
yeah.
just, it's a cool
like
little
Bobby
piece,
says.
but not for anything we're using, as far as I can tell.
Which is that?
The multi-channel, I have the little unit, the little Zoom, that
Oh,
Zoom that's in the
oh,
back,
okay,
it's
okay.
like, is this, I'll stop, anyway.
Wasn't that,
Well,
I just don't know,
specifically
you know-
for the, PCA, KPCA on the street
Not that thing,
purchase?
not
No?
that thing.
The
No.
pop-up.
There was a different Zoom, a small Zoom, which is awesome, I don't know what that thing is really for.
Where's Dennis?
Anyway,
And we, you know, in the past, when we were, long time ago, when PCA used to be over at the Casa Grande campus, we had a committee, not anything that we need to add here, but it was a committee where,
That's what she's talking about.
it's my 12-year-old,
where the ED and a couple of programmers, TV programmers, we were only doing TV then, but TV programmers would meet together and discuss different pieces of equipment and which would be, you know, I mean, it's kind of like it makes sense. If we're gonna, let's say we're the people who are running the radio station, it would just make sense for Rob to sit down with us and say, hey, you know,
We
this
need
is what I'm
this.
looking at, what do you guys think?
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's something that you need to do, is get the equipment committee for Rob together.
Oh, that's a good idea, okay, yeah. Yeah, when it's on-
Dennis likes to weigh in on that stuff,
Yeah.
Judy does, and
I'd
it
like to talk
sounds
to
like,
the other program, I know that Dominic had an issue with it.
Yeah.
Is Saeed okay with it?
No, he's the one who,
Oh,
and
so-
I don't mean to be rude, I
No, no,
mean, I
you-
love Saeed, he's
Just
the
be
one,
honest,
he's
yeah.
the one, I could tell he was really hesitant to say anything, but I said, dude, just tell me what's going on, and he said, well, I've talked to Rob about the turntables, but I think he must have forgotten about it or something, he was being very genuine.
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
really
yeah.
not-
and let's give Rob the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Sure.
So
exactly.
now you got
I
it.
just wanted to hear it from a few, like, I wanna talk to Dana and Jason and see, because they use a lot of vinyl too, I mean,
Yeah.
those guys, Saeed and Dominic are professionals, I mean, and I.
Dominic's all on a stick though, he brings,
Oh,
his-
he does.
Dominic's is all computer based.
Oh, I thought he was playing some vinyl and had an issue with it.
No, well, he might, every
Okay.
now,
It's fine, we'll take care of it, yeah.
anyway, mostly not,
Yeah.
but anyway, it should, Saeed is really pro, so,
Yeah,
Okay.
anyway,
cool. Do you
that's
wanna
enough said.
turn the camera off?
All right, yes, we're going to, we need a motion to adjourn to
So,
closed session.
Second.
adjourn the current meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.